Hi guys, this is my Dhk Maximus. I have it since 3 years now. I have played with it a ton of battery packs I've passed in it, and since the 3 years I got it, it broke on me so many times. Pretty much all the time I was running it, it broke. So I decided to make the vehicle as reliable as possible, and I want to show you what I made to achieve that goal. So yeah, this is the overall looking of the truck from the outside. Sorry for my body, it's a little bit bent. It came this way from AliExpress. It was shipped in a bag instead of in a box. So you can see that my body clip are held by this holder here, so I'm not losing them. I have a custom bumper here, which is flexible. I'm gonna show you a little bit better after we pop the body out. And this is a custom made hard bumper to protect the car. It's a little bit more towards the front of the car, so it protects the wheel on a front impact. And if we go to the back of the vehicle, there's a wheelie bar. So I'm not aware that anybody is making a wheelie bar for that car. So I made one, and it's good looking. It controls, if you happen to have to make a wheelie, it's gonna hold the car from flipping on its back. Plus it looks good, like I said. It's made also in flexible material, so I sometimes have a bad landing. Sorry about that. Sometime a bad landing. So when I let's say that I'm having a landing on the back of the vehicle, it is going to protect it, because it's gonna have some give to it. It's gonna just absorb the shock, like the front bumper is also. So it's made of TPU. It's a 3D printed part made of TPU, 3D printed part made of ABS for the hard bumper, and the wheels for the wheelie bar are made in ABS also. So they're pretty sturdy. All those two pieces, the wheelie bar and the front bumper, are just it just fits perfectly into the bolt pattern of the original bumper at the front and the original bumper at the back. So there is nothing to do to the truck. You just remove the bumpers on the front and on the back, and then you screw on those add-ons, those upgrades, and you're done. You have a vehicle that is protected against the impact. And there's, for the front here, there's a good slope, so when you hit something, let's say a jump that is a little bit, the kicker is a little bit too high, then it will just deflect the car up, and no damage will occur. So that's a pretty neat upgrade. The third upgrade that you see on the top there, I call it the body support tower. It's also made in flexible TPU. It's flexible, but it's kind of hard to bend. So all the parts are not really that flexible. They have some strength to it, but they also have a lot of give, which helps me achieve my 100% reliability truggy. So what that does is that all of you that owns a Dhk Maximus knows that the body is very, very brittle, and when you jump and you try to make a 360 or backflip or a front flip, and when you end up landing on your top upside down like this, you will be cracking and breaking completely off here, the sides here of the body. It's pretty weak. So what that does is that, like on the crate and let's say on the armored cars, you have your body post there and there that are holding the body, and then you have the support here from my body tower support to avoid crashing in the body when you're landing upside down. So with that add-on, I pretty kept that body alive for approximately 1 year, which is insane because I was breaking those bodies after, let's say, 3 battery packs because I was landing on the back, and that was pretty expensive. So that add-on is really neat. And plus, it bolts directly. It's the same bolt pattern than the cable management parts that is usually bolted on the center diff case. So those 4 screws, sorry for my ESC is placed there because I want to play with my weight distribution lately. But you can see down there that those screws here are the back screws of that are already there, but with the cable management parts that is usually on at that place. So it's pretty sturdy, it's flexible, you can hold it. It makes a good handle on the partner, so it's kind of funny. So that's a really good for those who are wondering what is this strange H shape. It's just because when you're 3D printing parts, this is a design for 3D printers, and also to be able to, with a screwdriver, to go straight to the bolt here. So I didn't want to have a big rectangle on top and having to go sideways with your screwdriver trying to screw those screws. So I just had a cutout here and a cutout there, so it's better reachable. The screws are better reachable. One thing that you should replace, the first thing you should replace is the servo, of course. The original servo is a crap. So this is what I have installed in the vehicle for 2 years now, and it has served me well. It is very quick. It's a high voltage servo, and the BEC of the ESC of that vehicle is not a high voltage BEC, but anyways, even with low voltage, it is quite fairly quick, and there's a lot of torque also, and this is just transforming your truggy, the Maximus. It is transforming from a very sloppy car to a really quick car that you can come to steer when you are sliding sideways. When you are drifting, then you happen to be able to counter steer and to control better your car with a faster servo and stronger servo. So let's move on to what else. Yeah, the direction. I was working a lot on having a car that goes straight, and to be able to hammer down the throttle and to be confident that the car will be going where I want it to go and not hit trees, you know. So I worked a lot on the steering rack, all the steering rack and the steering assembly, and I came up with those pieces. I completely replaced the let's say 10 parts that goes here and there, all the pivots that make the wheel turn, the link between the servo and the link together of the two wheels. And you can see that it's kind of the same material that all the other parts, so you can already tell that those parts are made of soft material. It's TPU again. I designed them so it's only one part. I happen to have one here, so I can show you better. And as you can see, this part replaces, I think there is like 3 parts. There's the plastic part plus the bushings on top, bushing at the bottom, that are, by the way, wearing very fast, and there you have a lot of play in your steering assembly because of that. And there's only one arm on the original design, and I made 2, so it's to use a mechanical term, it is double shear, so there's no rocking anymore of that linkage, aluminum linkage. So that's one upgrade. There is fewer pieces. That's another upgrade. And the part here that is linked to the servo, oh sorry, the part that is linked to the servo here is also made with that same material. And I did a lot of attempt to increase the strength of the servo saver on that car, because I was trying to have less torque steer when I was on the grass, when I was bashing on the grass, and to try to have a more precise steering. And I came up with the idea. At the beginning, I made it with solid plastic, but I ended up breaking a lot of parts around it, because all the impacts that I was having on the wheels were transfer, and especially all the way, since I have a very strong servo, it was all transferred to that part, that little plastic part. It's blue now because I printed it myself, another one, but this part ended up breaking all the time when I was having a solid part here. The steering was very crisp at that time. It was perfect, but not reliable at all. So I came up with that idea: make a solid part out of TPU, which is a fairly flexible hard. So it's a semi-flexible, semi-hard plastic, and it has a ton of life expectancy. So those pieces goes here and goes there underneath, of course. And because this is flexible and this is one part, it is very reliable, and it does the same thing than a servo saver, because when you apply torque, am I able to do that one-handed? When you apply torque to the wheel, wait, I tried to do that, to the servo and the wheel, you see that? It's kind of flexing a little bit. I'm using a lot of force right now, but it is flexing, so it gives you the give, it gives you the reliability, the steering precision, and you removed I think 10 parts. You improved everything, and I think those parts I think are on the vehicle since 1 year, almost 1 year, because I designed it a little bit later, earlier this year, but it served me well since then. I'm pretty sure that I won't change them in 1 year almost from today. So those are the upgrades. Oh no, I'm forgetting about that. Those here, those they're not pillow balls. They are rod end balls thing. I don't know what to call them. I was really getting mad at the play I was having between the ball and the original plastic part here. I would say after 4 or 5 batter packs, I was starting to have a lot of play sideways like this with my wheel, and I found that it was because there's a lot of play happening here between the pole and the plastic. So I came up with the idea. I was looking around for different avenue, but then I came up with that idea, and I said, why I should make a piece that I can remove the play that is occurring after a while. So I made those pieces here, that screw on the original. You just remove the stud here, the threaded stud, and you screw in, you force the thread of it in there, and then you have that ball clamp, I call it, at the end, and you can see that it is slitted here, and I can bend it a little bit inboard like this, and I put a screw here, so when that piece get a little bit worn out after a while, I can just remove the play by screwing the tiny screw that is here a tiny bit, and I make those two lips coming together, and I remove the play, and then I have no more play in there, and I can bash my vehicle once again. So that's another upgrade. I was making them in PLA at the beginning, but it's a Brill plastic, so I ended up making them in ABS now. So they are, it's a plastic that is less brittle, a little bit more tough. So I broke a little bit of them, but since I'm making them in ABS, everything is fine. Another upgrade that I made. It's not so much of an upgrade. I just changed the oil of my Centadiff to a 500K thick oil, so I can pop wheelies now. I don't have much power bleed to the front with that. It's almost, can I turn it with one hand? It's very tough. It's almost a locked Centadiff. Yeah, I think it's almost the last upgrade. This is the steering knuckle, or C-hub, I think they call it. Yeah, this is the C-hub, front C-hub. For those who has this vehicle, you are probably frustrated on how much play you get between the C-hub, plastic C-hub, and the aluminum bushing that goes in there. What I made, I was also tired of losing the screws, but that's another story. What I made is that this pivot now on my vehicle is sandwiched between two bearings. Like, focus. Yeah, so there's a bearing on top, there's a bearing at the bottom, and they're secured there. And my axle carrier, is it the axle carrier? I think so. The axle carrier here is just sandwiched in between the two bearings. It happens to be perfectly the good dimensions, so I was pretty lucky. And yes, that solved my issue of having a lot of play in that portion where it pivots. And I think personally this is the upgrade that I have for the longest time on my vehicle, and I think it's been 2 years now, and that's not a joke. It's been 2 years now that I have modified those C-hubs with those bearings, and it's still end at pieces. I have ran this vehicle in the snow, I have ran it in the sand, in the water, and jumped it in sand dunes, and those pieces held it for 2 years now with the bearings inside. They are sealed, so there's no problem going in water and snow. Last upgrade I made. There's not really any shim set that is sold that I'm aware of, so I make one. And those are for, of course, the rear and front diff. There's two thicknesses, and what's special about them is that they are slightly oversized because it's a pain. I don't have a differential assembly right now to show you, but I do have a dog bone female part here that goes on the sides of the diffs. And what's is very frustrating is that when you're trying to play with different shim thicknesses, is that you always have to disassemble your differential to put the damn shim behind your dog bone female part. And this is very frustrating, because if you need like 3 or 4 trials to have it perfect, depending on how much you want to have it perfect, you have to disassemble the damn diff every time. So the idea I came with is that I purchase oversized shims in diameter, so they pass the inner diameter. The inner diameter pass through this guy here. It's gonna pass, yeah. So it passed through it, So when you're trying to change the thickness or to add another one to it, to this one, or to change the composition, the combination of the shims, you just have to slide it in. And yes, they are oversized, but I made a slit there. The slit there is used to allow the shim to compress, to spring, to compress to the diameter of the differential case. So no need to disassemble the differential every time, and since it is sprung against the differential case, it's very sturdy. It holds itself inside the differential case very good. So this is wrapping up my Dhk Maximus upgrades that I made myself to have the most reliable Dhk Maximus in the world, I'm pretty sure. And if anybody is interested in improving their reliability in the way I did, you just have to check the description down below, because I have linked all those parts to the eBay item I am selling on eBay. So thank you for your time, and I hope you have enjoyed it, and bye-bye.